So we're going to get started now. As I said before, we're going to work from top to bottom and I'm going to break all the sections down. We're going to start with the dusting. So what we need to do is we need to dust the tops of the cupboards first. This is the highest point in the room, so anything that's on the top of there, you might find that there's socks, pants, t-shirts, bras, whatever the hell's been going on in there, all needs to come off. It needs to be like a brand new hotel room by the end. So inside to the cupboards, again top shelf, I can actually reach to the back of these, but if you do need the feather duster in order to get to these, that's fine. There'll also be step ladders on site if you do need those, but you need to go right to the back of the cupboard. All these shelves need to be wiped out. At the moment, as you can see, we are getting to the back of everything. We've got to wipe the hinges down, the tops of the doors, they get a line in, so you can see already there's quite a lot of dust build up. Do the top of the pole, any little edges at all that can accumulate dust, we're getting it done. So tops of the hinges, that's the cupboard done. That's just the first process of the clean, so we dry dust everything throughout. Okay, so that's just the first process of the clean. In a little while we are going to start pre-spraying. I'll talk to you about that once we get the dusting done. Again, tops of the cupboards, a little bit higher, so I am actually going to use the feather duster for this. So as I'm putting the feather duster over the tops of the cupboards now, there is a little bit of resistance there. So that basically means there's a very fine film of grease where people have been cooking, and over time it's stuck to the top of those cupboards. So unfortunately we're not going to be able to climb up on the worktops due to health and safety. So it'll have to be a step ladder, and we'll get the degreaser up there a little bit later on in the clean. So once you've done that top section there, you've got your fire blankets. Again, you need to do the tops of the fire blankets. There's a very small ridge runs all the way down. These ridges need to be done right down, and the tops of the light switches, fridge switches, everything needs to be dusted. We're not going to be too concerned about dusting the sink or the worktops at the moment, because again, they'll be cleaned with a multi-surface cleaner later on. So moving on, we've got the fridge. We're going to pre-spray the bottom cupboard here. We're going to give it a quick dust out. Again, you may find, because people have been storing food in these, that they are going to need to be pre-sprayed and wiped out with multi-surface. But you can see there are loose particles of dust and dirt. If we get those out now, the reason we do this, instead of waiting to go straight at it with the pre-spray, is once you wet that item and you try to clean it out, all you're doing is just spreading the dirt around, just sticking in a cloth, and you just end up making more of a mess than you do cleaning it. So dusting everything down here again. These will need a clean with a nice glass spray. These are grubby, so they're going to need pre-spraying. Oven, separate section again. It's looking pretty good at the moment, but we are going to need to give that a wipe out. It's a totally different process for those. With them being in that condition, it's not going to be quite as intense, but we will go into the details of what to do when you come up against a bad oven. So bottom drawer underneath the oven, this is quite hidden away. Again, take it out, give it a dry dust. And what you'll find is, as you go along cleaning these rooms, some of these drawers, the trays, have been put back in dirty, so it's important that you do remember this drawer is under the oven. So they're going to need to be checked. Higher end, extractor fans, you can dry dust them. But again, sometimes you will get a lot of the grease build up because it's directly above the cooking point, and you'll get a lot of resistance on the cloth, so we will need to degrease those as well. Switch points, straight across those, straight across there. The top of this light fitting is extremely dusty, but again, I can feel resistance with the grease on that. And the top of the cord for the lighting, I can see dust all the way down there, so we'll give it a quick flick over with the feather duster, and that's fine now. Top of the switch. TV unit, so top of the TV, this actually comes away from the wall, so you can angle it slightly and dust the back of the TV. Everything, switch points, tops of the plugs, tops of the wires, tops of the brackets, flip it around. Same on the back of here, just make sure you're really thorough, getting all of the dust off, and this can be pushed back up against the wall. So I'm going to pull this trolley out of the way now, with lots of space in these rooms, fortunately. So if you pull these benches out, very quick check on these, quick dust. A lot of the time these need to be sprayed and wiped. Skirting board right the way along. So again, skirting board all the way along. The top of the desk, put that there. So again, we're going to dry dust this desk. It is definitely going to need to be sanitised and wiped down with the anti-bac cleaner rather than just the dry dust. But again, we do this to eliminate all the dust build-up, clotting in the cloth. We're going to clean that down, windowsills. Make sure you're getting all the little nooks and crannies and the lips and the ridges for these windowsills. Inside the windows need to be cleaned. We'll go into that later. Tops of switches, skirting boards run right around this far end of the room. And underneath the desk unit here, we've got these little shelves again, right to the back. Doesn't take long. It's not a long process, it's not strenuous. The dusting process is the simpler part. So again, we've got coat hooks, just being really thorough with making sure you get everything done. All those little areas the dust can settle on, we need to get those done. So these seats, they actually remove, they're on a Velcro. You can see, you can pull it forward, there's a lot of dust build up here. So we bring this down to the edge. Again, what you can do with these, you can attach the hoover nozzle and go over it with the brush attachment. I'll actually show you that a little bit later on, just so you can see there are different techniques to doing this. And as we've said before, the beds, we're going to be hoovering the beds. As long as you haven't got big muddy footprints, you can actually stand on these, it's not a problem, because we're going to be cleaning it all down later. We need to get the tops of these units in all these little cubby holes. Again, it's nothing strenuous. Back lip, done. Back panel, done. Same, I just push the trolley out of the way, maximise the space. So these cubbies, these are quite a bit deeper. You can see these can capture out much to the distance in the darkness. I can actually see there's a lid of some sort back there. So rather than just dust the front and think you're going to get away with the inspection, it's not going to work. We're going to go right to the back. So there's a lid at the back there. Again, now the bottom one, I understand is a little bit low. Might break a few people's backs, but again, it's very important that we do, because right at the back we have a sock. Got to make sure everything is out of those nooks and crannies. When it comes to these deeper units, you can actually put the hoover lance on and hoover right at the back. You haven't necessarily got to get your body in there to dust it out by hand. So that's that section. We're already down here, we're by the wall and the plug points, so we're going to do the skirt, we're going to do the switch point, we're going to do the switch point on our way back up, the door handles, the radiator, the top of the intercom. Everything can be done in motion. So we're going to do the bottom of the radiator, the piping, the valve, door handles and things like these will be sanitised on the way out. But again, there's dry dust along the top lips and on the top of the door retainer. There's there, hinges, little skirting board. So that's everything around the circumference of the room done. There are a couple of things you need to double check your work. So I know now from going around the whole room that I forgot those two drawers, those two cupboards, and we've yet to do underneath the bed. So we're going to very quickly dry dust these drawers out. Now this one's a lot stickier, so I would imagine at some point there's been a spillage in here, so that's going to need a little bit of degreaser or multi-surface cleaner. Bottom drawers into the back of the cupboards, hinges, push this out the way, again hinges, back of the cupboards, need a little bit of pre-spray on the back there because there's a stain, but again that's fine as long as we're making these inspections as we go along. So a really important thing to remember when it comes to the bed section, one of the things that they check when they're inspecting the rooms at the end, you've got to pull the mattress forward, because if you can see along the back there, there's a huge dust line, and I think I can even see some fingernails in there. So we're not going to try and attempt to clean that with a cloth. Because of the MDF board, it'll just grip the cloth and it'll make life a lot harder. So we're going to go back to that, we're going to hoover it with the brush nozzle attachment. So for now we're going to lift the mattress, and you'll see this metal bar along the centre line here, so we're going to dust that off now while we've got our one hand on the mattress. Once this is up out of the way, we can actually use these doors to pin it back, flip them up, and your hands are free to do the rest of the frame. So again, you've got this black frame here, right way around the bed, so we're going to do round the top here, all the top bars, again top to bottom. It's the best way to keep it structured in your mind as well as in action. There's a lot of bits and pieces and hair clips and things falling down here. And then at the bottom side of the bed here, we've got these doors. Again, this will catch a lot of people out. You've got this section, there's a massive gap here. You get a lot of debris down. Again, there's a fingernail. So that catches a lot of people out. The bit down in the crevice here, this is actually going to be done with a hoover a little bit later on in the video. But for now, this flat surface here, this metal bar, we're going to dust straight along there. That entire section can be left open just as a reminder that we haven't yet done in this gap here. So that wraps up the dusting in this main section of the room. We're going to move into the bathroom now. Again, a lot of the bathroom's not going to require much dusting. It's mostly pre-spraying and wiping everything down. But we are going to go in because again, if you try and spray anything which has got a thick layer of dust on it, it just clots up in the cloth and it just makes life a lot harder. So we're just trying to make things as easy and as efficient as possible as we move along. So if you follow me into the bathroom, there's not many flat surfaces in here to deal with, but we've got the biggest one being on the back of the toilet, the top of the light and the shaving point switches, again, tops of the rails, anywhere that dust can actually trap. So you get these little plastic collars might flip off the ends, but they just push back in, nice and easy. Again, top of the shower rail, we'll get that dusted. Now, if you have a look at the ceiling, there are nicotine spots all over it. So again, I'll show you a little bit later in the video how to clean those, but it's very important that they are removed. The shower itself, we're not going to dust anything in the shower. We can pre-spray the shower with the multi-surface spray. And again, the toilet, you have got this section on the back. It is worth dusting it first. They are going to need to be sprayed with the anti-bac and given a real good clean. But again, flat surface along the top of the toilet roll holder. And there's also this pipe, which is quite hidden underneath the sink here, on the top of the cold and hot water feed. So we're going to dust right around those. But again, to finish those off later, we're going to spray those with the glass cleaner and give them a real good buff up to get the chrome shining. So that wraps up the section for the dusting. We're going to now move on to the pre-spraying.